their um, session, journey, trip uh, on a Wikipedia, a random Wikipedia rather, article. So basically, we gonna just start with a random Wikipedia article and go from there. Go wherever the article takes us, and our curiosity takes us. And the goal, if there is any, is to kind of either learn something new or correct ourselves or validate our existing thoughts or point of view on that particular topic, I guess. And surely we won't be diving into all the details because I do get bored very easily and I get distracted very easily. So I'll be bouncing from one article to another article and just skimming through and see what I want to learn. And I'm saying I because obviously you guys have no say. You guys are here to watch me uh, mispronounce ton of words exactly, and make me I don't know how to describe it, but uh, one of the reasons why I'm doing this is because I want to improve, um, say, my delivery style, right? And that's one of the important uh, piece of doing stand-up comedy because delivery is delivery carries the joke. So missing out on or not delivering the joke well is a sort of uh, sort of sabotaging everything you built. You know, like if you build a joke on a premise and then take it to the punchline, but if the delivery of the punchline is not solid enough, the entire premise falls apart. The entire jokes falls apart. So delivery is one of the key element when it comes down to comedy, and I have observed that I need to improve that, and I'm already improving that. I can see the changes in my performance. Say a few months back versus today, it's completely different. It's very different. But that's the self learning process, right? And I want to speed up that process to a place, to a level. And I realized that the best way to do that would be to be able to deliver different, statements or different punchlines, so to speak, and practice it. And this is the best thing I can think of, uh, which is to to go through a random Wikipedia article and just build from there, because I don't want to talk about any one particular topic because I do have my own point of views about almost every topics, right? And I don't want to uh, I don't want to express my point of view for a particular topic, even though I will do that every now and then, when we are going through different articles. But uh, the, the 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 whole idea of just reading a Wikipedia page is because the Wikipedia is sort of collection of articles from different editors, because anyone can go and sign into Wikipedia and change some information. You know, you can modify that, and as a contributor, you would be you will, I believe they may have like some metrics to kind of gauge like how reliable contributor you would be, like how much information or knowledge you're contributing is based on facts versus and how well it's written and all of those things. So uh, that being said, I am going to start today's random Wikipedia article, trip, journey, And we'll start from The Dead Kingdom, which is a novel by Geraldine Harris and was published in 1983. The Dead Kingdom is book 3 of the Seven Citadels tetralogy. And the reception was I'm trying to figure out the tone of the reviewer, but let's see. Dave Langford reviewed The Dead Kingdom for White Dwarf number 62 and stated that evidently she planned the 4 books as a whole rather than writing blindly into the unknown or tackling extensions onto a self-contained novel. To all sequel-holics, I say, go thou and do likewise. Okay. Which I believe is a positive review because, Dave is saying that the story, the entire 4 books were well planned. Okay. And Mr. David Roland Langford is a British author, editor, and critic largely active within the science fiction field. He publishes the science fiction fanzine and newsletter Ansible and holds the all-time record for most Hugo Awards with a total of 29 wins. Congratulations, Mr. Dave, for winning 29 Hugo Awards, which I'm kind of curious what exactly is Hugo Award. But Geraldine Harris, aka Geraldine Harris Pinch, is an author and Egyptologist. She is a member of the Faculty of Oriental Studies at the University of Oxford. So we're gonna check out the Hugo Awards. But before we go there, let's see. Mr. David Langford. So he's been winning the Hugo Award since 1985. Okay. The Hugo Award is an annual literary award for the best science fiction or fantasy works and achievements of previous year, given at the World Science Fiction Convention and chosen by its members. The Hugo is widely considered the premier award in science fiction. Huh. So, David Langford have written a lot of novels or books, and he won 29 Hugo Awards. So he's like the best writers for science fiction based on the awards, I guess. Even though, I mean, personally, I think the biggest award is if David is happy doing what he's doing, then that itself is the biggest award, and this is all recognition from the society. And maybe I don't believe that I will ever receive any award. Maybe that's what the fearful side of me is. But at the same time, I don't give a shit about any award. I haven't in real long time, because I know, like if I'm being acknowledged for for any of my works, it doesn't matter which field or in what way, you know. Well, in what way does matter? I mean, I'm hoping that I'll be acknowledged in a positive way, of course, and that's what the whole inner battle is as an artist, I guess. I mean, at one place, I don't care about any acknowledgement, which is to let the this artistic style evolve in whatever way it naturally would evolve. And on the other end, uh, a part of me, or part of my ego, I guess, want to be appreciated and acknowledged for the work I put in. And that's where I believe every artist uh, uh, figure out what their line is. Like, because if as an artist you try to uh, bend over backward to gain followers, to gain subscribers, to gain XYZ, right? So if you're seeking approval, then um, you may end up doing things which you don't want to. Because if your motivation is to drive more money, then you would do anything or say anything or paint anything or sing anything for sake of money, right? And at the same time, those uh, call it things, call it money is a thing, is a tool. Call it tools. Tools are probably a better word. So on the other end, we all need these different tools, or it's not even need, it's desire to have different tools, right? Like, for example, to maybe a uh, better car, so that you can go from one place to the other place. So that's a tool. The car is a tool. Likewise, better phone, because you can do different things on your fast performing phone versus slow performing phone. So but phone is a tool. And call it like a materialistic, or call it even behavioralistic, meaning like desiring to be loved, desiring to feel that you fit in, desire to have um, whatever goals or ambitions any person have. So all of those are sort of uh, call it a distraction or call it a desire, which could conflict with the art. So that's where one have to figure out their own personal boundaries and their own personal line, meaning um, what would you how far would you go uh, to explore your artistic side, and not to misuse your uh, artistic work or artistic expression, you know so not to misuse your artistic expression just because you want approval from a crowd or you want a lot of money. So not misusing your artistic expression, and at the same time not falling into the other desires, um, and remain true to the art form, I guess. So, I mean, because as an individual, it's messy. Every individual have their own different call it different behaviors or different patterns in general, right? So every person have their own individual patterns, and those patterns sort of paint the current picture of that individual, right? So, depending on your habits, your mindsets, you act and you do certain things, and that shape your understanding of your reality, right? And once you say change that habit, or once you adopt like a new hobby or new pattern, then you see other side of you which you haven't explored. And that's what I feel, that's one of the things which I love to experiment with my life, to kind of try out various things, and various things I'm interested in, various things which aligns with what I want. So I'm not trying to fight what I want and do something which I don't want in the first place. So the want desire is important, and how you use that is also very important. These are the desires are distraction, but at the same time, it's if you're true to yourself, you will find that you're attracted to few things, and you're maybe not attracted or repulsed to few things. It could vary from person to person. Maybe someone hate exercise and some other person loves exercise, and these are this is the same thing, but different people have different wants and how they approach to a particular thing. So wants are very important because then you're connected to yourself, meaning what you're uh, aware of your um, aware of what makes you fulfilled, right? And again, wants could be broken down into different things. You can want a meaningful relationship. You can want a better, say, world for everyone, or or you can want to build something for a community. So depending on an individual, every want is different, and how you express that want, how meaning uh, using your artistic expression, how you kind of try to reach or fulfill those wants is more important than anything else. Um, More important than fame, more important than money, because again, the money and the fame, at least in today's world, even though I don't know anything about this, I'm obviously not famous, and hopefully not infamous, and I definitely don't have money. Or I should rephrase it. Um, I am grateful for the money I have, and forever will remain grateful. Uh, but the money money doesn't make me happy. Um, Money, I like the security of money. I like the cushion, so to speak. It provides, uh, but I don't try to chase for money, and I haven't in a long time. And that's very interesting. I guess one of the very unique pattern I absorbed from my parents. My parents are um, they are very um, noble hearted. They uh, they sort of laid down, you know they tried to um, expose me to the reality, in the most authentic way, without keeping me in shadow, for an example. So I sort of understood that, I sort of understood some of the ways world function when I was super young. So I realized that money was one of the most important factor in how people work. But then, as like, now thinking back, and I believe I haven't thought about these things in a long time, but then I was also trying to figure out if money is, say, the ultimate answer, right? Like, if you have all the money, will you be like the happiest person? Will you be more like, will there be no problem in your life? And that's when I sort of realized that, thanks to all the different stories from Hinduism, right? I realized that there are a lot of people who don't even care about money, and they are happier than the people who does have money, because the that that's what most of the religious um, to some degree should do, right? I shouldn't even say should, but the point being, like, religion is more or less supposed to be a moral code of how people should live in that time, in in this world. But religions are sort of trapped in the time, because they always will be trapped or freezed in the time, because when religion, any particular religion, was formed, they had different set of rules, different set of understanding of reality, and they created their own moral book. And those moral books or constitution of that day end up becoming their holy books. And those holy books are trapped in time. They were designed for a different timeline. And as we evolved as human, or some might even say devolve, but as we evolved as a civilization, now we are at a different state altogether. And um people still go back to religion because that provide a moral code to how they should live their life. So religion plays a very, very, very important role in a person's behavior and action, if they really truly believe in that religion, right? Because there are a lot of people who just follow the things they want to follow in a particular religion, and then they use the loopholes of the religion. I know that because I've done that too. And then I realized, like, the whole religion doesn't make sense anymore. There are a lot of moral teachings which anyone can derive from religion, but not by totally believing into the story, but trying to understand the essence of the story, and then figure out how you can apply that into your life, right? And when I, as a kid, was sort of exposed to these different stories, I realized very soon, that money is not the most important thing, because money can help to ease the suffering, but money will not eliminate the suffering. And uh, over time now, my understanding is that suffering is only if you think it's suffering, first of all, but at the same time, suffering is your relationship with any kind of suffering is determined based on how you react to that suffering. So everything you do or didn't do become or could become a suffering. So, but as a kid, when I understood that money was not the most important thing in life, then that sort of led me on a lot of different paths. And well, I still remember, I used to compare the various Hindu gods, right? And also, gods from different religion as well. And uh, but one thing I observed with almost all the Hindu gods was that they all meditate, which is fascinating. For as a kid, I I remember asking myself, like, these are the most powerful beings. These are the beings who actually created the universe. And they are meditating. Why? It so that does that mean that meditation is, I mean, whatever meditation technique they may be using, right? Like but meditation is more uh greater or powerful than even God, you know? And the Hindu gods are very interesting. There there are stories where uh, uh, one of the Hindu god, who's like, one of the strongest god, he was sort of conned into giving a boon to this demon, um, with the where the boon was that whenever this demon put his hand on anything, that thing will burn. That thing will just combust away or blast away or whatever. So basically, he was like a Midas, but instead of gold touch, he had like a fire touch. So and he doesn't have to like just touch person. He have to put his hand on top of like a person, on anyone's head or anything, and I think it's just a person. So if he put his hand on any person's head, that person will die. That person will burn and combust. So that was his boon, and the god who gave him or granted him that boon um, quickly realized that this demon actually wanted to kill him. So now the god who granted him that boon is powerless in front of that demon. And this god is one of the most powerful god. But so that means his words are even powerful than him. Like, if as a god you can't or you won't cancel what you have granted, like that uh I think that level of grace that you donated or you gave a boon to someone, and even if they're using that against you, you will not cancel that. Imagine that in a business scenario, right? That would never happen. But if you signed a contract with someone else in a good faith, and they start turning on you, then you can defend yourself, but you won't attack them. You won't break your word to attack them, or that would be a better way to say it. Like, you don't want to cancel your word. And that so that kind of speaks to the other thing, which is more powerful than the god itself. Like, meditation is more powerful than god. Keeping your word is more powerful than god. And there were a lot of these tidbits which I sort of absorbed. Even though, I'll be real honest, like, I understand this, and even and don't end up following this plenty of times, and that's sort of like takes me back to my moral code to a degree, right? So that if those are my moral codes, I feel like whenever I break those codes, I feel remorseful. I feel guilty, shameful that I broke my own moral code. And to that degree, shame is a good feeling, even though I have very messed up relationship with shame. But shame helps to kind of keep on track with the moral code you have built within you. And and I believe religion originally was supposed to provide that moral code, but not in the way they do it now. Meaning, like, now they just brainwash people into thinking that these stories are real, that they happened exactly how it says in the book. instead of trying to understand the context, the complexities of these stories, and how uh, people can find different paths. They can choose different ways. They can either act with bravery or run away with or run away um, cowardly. And uh, both of these options are accessible to every one of us, and we make our own choices as well. But these moral religion stories can help us to make a better choice, or have faith in the choice, and not faith in a god per se, but just having a faith that when you're making a particular choice with a good faith, everything will work out. Like, if you are going with a good intention, sure, um, uh, plenty of times you will experience failure, you will experience setback, but those setbacks are just learning lessons, meaning you that shouldn't impact you uh, from um, canceling your moral codes, or you know or acting from from a wrong faith, or yeah, but I'm trying to recall like where we started from. So I remember like we were talking about the awards, and yeah. So I feel that every artist definitely, uh, uh, or the greatest artist, I should say, not every artist, but the greatest artists don't care about the awards. At the same time, their art form is so good enough that they are acknowledged and rewarded. Uh, so I guess the point being, just focus on that art form. And honestly, I think everyone is an artist. We just name it in a different way. It's just once we sort of see everything in an art form, then I believe that whatever we are doing becomes more palatable, more easier. I'm not saying that it would be easy. For sure, it won't be. But imagine if you are flipping a burger, right? And I know it's a very intense job, and it's not even paid well. So I get the struggles. But if you just try to find the artistic side while doing that, I don't know what that artistic side would be. Maybe, while you're flipping the burger, maybe like, just make a tune with the spoon and the glass, just some sort of like a music. I don't know if you're into music, or maybe when you're, flipping a burger, like see it in different colors if you're a painter, like how that raw uh, raw bread, I guess, is being cooked, and how that the I'm vegetarian, so I would say just the veggie patty, how it is cooked, just observing that. And I get that, like that if you're working in a fast food industry, you gotta be fast, and there is no time to kind of like admire the art in the food. I get all of that, but what saying is, if you end up looking at things from an artistic lens, that will help you. Uh, so if work is not a good say example, then it could be something personal too, right? Like, if you say write a journal, that's an artistic side, that you're expressing your thoughts and your ideas in in words. And or even if you're like, say, doing chores, you can find some sort of art form in that. Like, say if you're doing your dishes, then You can maybe use different patterns to scrub the dishes. I'm just saying, again, uh, it's not that you have to love everything you do, but there are a lot of things which you have to do, just because you're a responsible person. And when you do those things, if you try to find, say, an artistic lens to that, that will be beneficial to not just accomplishing the thing, but also to make yourself more artistic, or at least see yourself as an artist. And when you look at yourself as an artist, that opens more door, because that allows you to explore different artistic side. You can explore, and you can find the commonalities of different artistic side, because at the end of the day, every art form sort of meets to this unity, which different people call it different way, but I think it's most popularly known as like the state of flow. And that state of flow is experienced by uh, pretty much everyone in different things they are doing, right? So you can experience that state of flow while you're driving. You can experience that state of flow while you're surfing, or while you're riding, or while you're working, and you're so much absorbed in your work, or in your research, or in your coding, or in your XYZ. Like, you can experience that state of flow. And when you start experiencing that state of flow, that's what I think is the common element between all artists. And sure, it still would be different. Like, I don't know how different my state of flow would be from, say, your state of flow, because um, I got into state of flows while, say, doing my homework in the past, or while preparing for some for exam, and like just reading interesting concept. And I got into state of flow and was in there for a while. I've also got my state of flow while playing cricket, one of the sport. While playing some other games, I got into state of flow while playing chess. So there are so many different ways to tap into that state of flow, but that state of flow is more like paying attention to one particular task for a prolonged amount of time. And once you are completely absorbed in that task, the time itself doesn't feel that it's long. Like, uh, you may be absorbed in a task for hours, but to you it would feel like minutes. So that's that's what state of flow does. It kind of uh, it it helps you to focus and pay attention to one particular thing. And when you focus on that with all of your awareness and energy, you get deeper with that, right? You get better at that one particular thing. And as you go deeper and deeper, you experience this euphoric feeling. And I am this is also applicable for meditative state, because I've experienced this plenty of times as well. Like when I'm in somewhat deep meditation, this doesn't happen often, but when it does, it feels so good. Like, I'm it feels like, I'm just focusing on, say, my body sensations, right? And just observing that one particular thing, and I'm completely detached from, say, my past, my future, my existing situations, my financial situations, my all the other bills, or my income. All of those things are not in my mind. I am just focused on one particular aspect. And that moment, or those moments, feel so euphoric that I feel more that I have felt more charged when I came out of meditation session. And that's what state of flow does. And that's why pretty much every artist chase that. And that state of flow actually is the reward which makes a person a better artist, right? Because you're repeating the same art form over and over and over, and hopefully you're if you're truly aware of the present moment, then you could again channel that constant attention and focus it on your paint or your public performance or your dancing or anything, and you can get so much better at that one particular thing. So uh, and that itself is a huge reward and award. So I'm That being said, let's get back to our Wikipedia. And now I'm kind of curious about David's work, because if he have won 29, well, not if, he won 29 Hugo Awards. So he have done at least 29 things right. So we got to figure out what exactly was his work. So he publishes the science fiction fanzine. And a science fiction fanzine is an amateur or semi professional magazine published by members of science fiction fandom from the 1930s to the present day. They were one of the earliest forms of fanzine, within one of which the term fanzine was coined at one time. Okay, so I thought he wrote books, but look like he publishes a lot of fanzines. Let's see. As a writer of fiction, Langford is noted for his parodies. And a parody, also called a spoof, a send up, a takeoff, a lampoon, a play on something, or a caricature, is a creative work designed to imitate, comment on, and or make fun of its subject by means of satiric or ironic imitation. I like it. That kind of sort of resonate with my style as well. A collection of short stories parodying various science fiction, fantasy fiction, and detective story. Uh, and detective story writers has been published as He Do the Time Police in different voices. Two novels parodies, so parodying disaster novels and horror, respectively, are Earth, Doom, and Guts, both co-written with John Grant. The novelette, An Accountant of a Meeting with Denizens of Another World, 1871, is an account of a UFO encounter as experienced by a Victorian in its framing story. Do you guys want to? We're going to very quickly interrupt and see if Sprinkles is in mood to have a chat. Hey, Sprinkles. Do you wanna say something to the world? What's that? Okay. Dude, is that the last thing you wanna say? Okay. Okay, she don't like to be in limelight. So, David wrote a novelette. I don't know what novelette is. What is novelette? A short novel, typically one that is light and romantic or sentimental in character. Okay. So he wrote about an account of a UFO encounter in a Victorian time. Cool. This has led some ufologists to believe the story is genuine, including the US author Whitley Strieber, who referred to the 1871 incident in his novel Majestic. Langford freely admits the story is fictional when asked, but as he notes, journalists usually don't ask. Of course, that's funny. Basilisk. A number of Langford stories are set in a future containing images, colloquially, col, colloq, colloquially, colloquially, I think colloquially, or colloquially called basilisk, which crash the human mind by triggering thoughts that the mind is physically or logically incapable of thinking. Uh huh. The first of these stories was Blit. Others include What Happened at Cambridge 4, Comp.Basilisk FAQ, and the Hugo winning Different Kinds of Darkness. The idea has appeared elsewhere. In one of his novels, Ken MacLeod has characters explicitly mention and worry about encountering the Langford visual hack. Similar references, also mentioning Langford by name, features in the work by Greg Egan and Charles Stross. The eponymous snow crash of Neil Stephenson novel in the combination metal or computer virus capable of infecting the minds of hackers via their visual cortex. The idea also appeared in Blindside by Peter Watts, where a particular combination of right angles in a harmful image to vampires. The role playing game Ellipse Phase has so called basilisk hacks, sensory or linguistic attacks on cognitive process. The concept of a cognito hazard, largely identical to Langford's basilisk, is sometimes used in the fictional universe of the SCP Foundation. The image's name comes from the basilisk, a legendary reptile said to have the power to cause death with a single glance. So, cognito-hazard. Cognition referred to the mental action or process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the senses. It encompasses many aspects of intellectual fictions and processes such as perception, attention, thought, the formation of knowledge, memory. I'm kind of curious to go to this article next. But the nonfiction and editorial work, Langford has won numerous Hugo Awards for his activities as a fan journalist on his free newsletter Ansible, which he has described as the SF Private Eye. The name Ansible is taken from Ursula K. Le Guin's science fictional communication device. The newsletter first appeared in August 1979. 50 issues were published by 1987 when it entered a hiatus. Since resuming publication in 91, Ansible has appeared monthly with occasional extra issues given half numbers. Oh wow. As a two-sided A4 sheet and laterally also online. A digest has appeared as the Ansible link column in Interzone since issue 62, August 1992. The complete archive of the Ansible is available at Langford's personal website. Ansible issue 300 was published on 2nd July 2012. I gotta check the sensible, so you know what I'm gonna do? I am going to just do this, and let's go to cognitive hazard. So, cognition refers to the mental action or process of acquiring knowledge and understanding through thought, experience, and the senses. It encompasses many aspects of intellectual functions and processes such as perception, attention, thought, the formation of knowledge, memory and working memory, judgment and evaluation, reasoning and computation, problem solving and decision making, comprehension and production of language. Cognitive processes use existing knowledge and discover new knowledge. Cognitive process cognitive processes are analyzed from different perspectives within different contexts, notably in the field of linguistics, musicology, anesthesia, neuroscience, psychiatry, psychology, education, philosophy, anthropology, biology, semantics, logic, and computer science. These and other different approaches to the analysis of cognition are synthesized in the developing field of cognitive science, a progressively autonomous academic discipline. All right, let's start from the top. So, intellectual functioning refers to the general mental ability that includes reasoning, planning, problem solving, abstract thinking, comprehending complex ideas, learning quickly, and learning from experience. Significantly limited or impaired intellectual functioning characterizes intellectual disability, I think. Okay. And perception is the organization, identification, and interpretation of sensory information in order to represent and understand the presented information or environment. Whereas attention is the behavioral and cognitive process of selectively concentrating on a discrete aspect of information, whether considered subjective or objective, while ignoring other perceivable information. According to William James, attention is the taking possession by the mind, okay, and thought. In their most common sense, the terms thought and thinking refers to conscious cognitive process that can happen independently of sensory stimulation. Their most paradigmatic forms are judging, reasoning, concept formation, problem solving, and deliberation. And we define knowledge is a familiarity or awareness of someone or something, such as facts, skills, or objects contributing to one's understanding. By most accounts, knowledge can be acquired in many different ways and from many sources, including but not limited to perception, reason, memory, testimony, and etc. Memory is the faculty of the brain by which data or information is encoded, stored, and retrieved when needed. It is the retention of information over time for the purpose of influencing future action. If past events could not be remembered, it would be impossible for language, relationships, or personal identity. Working memory is a cognitive system with limited capacity that can hold information temporarily. Working memory is important for reasoning and the guidance of decision making and behavior. Working memory is often used synonymously with short term memory. A value judgment is a judgment of the rightness or wrongness of something or someone, or of the usefulness of something or someone, based on a comparison or other relativity. As a generalization, a value judgment can refer to a judgment based upon a particular set of values. Evaluation is a systematic determination of a subject's merit, worth, and significance using criteria governed by a set of standards. It can assist an organization, program design, project, or any other intervention or initiative to access any aim, realizable, realizable concept or proposal, or any alternative to help in decision making. Reason is the capacity of consciously applying logic by drawing conclusions from new or existing information with the aim of seeking the truth. It is closely associated with such characteristically human activities as philosophy, science, language, mathematics, and art. Computation is any type of calculation that includes both arithmetic and non arithmetical steps and which follows a well defined model. Problem solving consists of using generic or ad hoc methods in an orderly manner to find solutions to difficulties. In psychology, decision making is regarded as the cognitive process resulting in the selection of a belief or a course of action among several possible alternative options. It could be either rational or irrational. In logic, the comprehension of an object is the totality of intensions, that is, attributes, characters, marks, properties, or qualities that the object possesses, or else the totality of intentions that are pertinent to the context of a given discussion. A language is a structured system of communication used by humans. Languages can be based on speech and gesture, sign, or writing. The structure of language is its grammar, and the free components are its vocabulary. Linguistics is the scientific study of human language, meaning that it is a comprehensive, systematic, objective, and precise study of language. Linguistics encompasses the analysis of every aspect of language as well as the methods for studying and modeling them. Musicology is the scholarly analysis and research based study of music. Musicology departments traditionally belong to the humanities, although some music research is scientific in focus. Some geographers and anthropologists have an interest in musicology, so the social sciences also have an academic branch, I guess. Anesthesia is a state of control, temporary loss of sensation or awareness that is included for medical purposes. It may include some or all of analgesia, paralysis, amnesia, and unconsciousness. A person under the effects of anesthetic drugs is referred to as being anesthetized. Neuroscience is the scientific study of the of the nervous system. It is a multidisciplinary science that combines physiology, anatomy, molecular biology, developmental biology, cytology, computer science, and mathematical modeling to understand the fundamental and emergent Psychiatry is the medical specialty devoted to the diagnosis, prevention, and treatment of mental disorders. These include various maladaptations related to mood, behavior, cognition, and perception. Psychology is a scientific study of mind and behavior. Psychology includes the study of conscious and unconscious phenomena, including feelings and thoughts. It is an academic discipline of immense scope, crossing the boundaries between the natural and social sciences. Education is the process of facilitating learning or the acquisition of knowledge, skills, values, morals, beliefs, habits, and personal development. Educational methods include teaching, training, storytelling, discussing, and directed research. Philosophy is the study of general and fundamental questions, such as those about existence, reason, knowledge, values, mind, and language. Such questions are often posed as problems to be studied or resolved. Anthropology is the scientific study of humanity, concerned with human behavior, human biology, cultures, societies, and linguistics in both the present and past, including past human species. Social anthropology studies patterns of behavior, while cultural anthropology studies cultural behavior, I believe. Biology is a scientific study of life. It is a natural science with a broad scope but has several unifying themes that tie it together as a single coherent, coherent field. For instance, all organisms are made up of cells that process hereditary, 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 hereditary information encoded in genes. Systemics. In the context of systems science and systems philosophy, systemics is an initiative to study systems. It is an attempt to developing logical, mathematical, engineering, and philosophical paradigms and framework in which physical, technological, biological, social, cognitive, and metaphysical systems. That is interesting. I like the sound of systemics. I'm gonna check it out later. You know what? I'm just gonna do that. Logic is the study of correct reasoning or good arguments. It is often defined in a more narrow sense as the science of deductively valid inferences or of logical truth. In this sense, it is equivalent to formal logic and constitutes a formal science investigating how conclusions follow from the premise. Computer science involves the study of or the practice of computation, automation, and information. Computer science spans theoretical disciplines to practical disciplines. Computer science is generally considered an area of academic research and distinct from computer programming. Cognitive science is the interdisciplinary scientific study of the mind and its process with input from linguistics, psychology, neuroscience, philosophy, computer science or artificial intelligence, and anthropology. It examines the nature, the tasks, and the functions of cognition. An academic discipline or academic field is a subdivision of knowledge that is taught and researched at the college or university level. Disciplines are defined and recognized by the academic journals in which research is published and the learned societies and academic departments or faculties within. Mundus sensibilities, mundus imaginabilities. Not sure what all of these are. Okay, Mr. Robert Fudd. And he did that in 1619. Robert Flood, also known as Robertus the Fluctibus, was a prominent English Paracelsian physician with both scientific and occult interest. He's remembered as an astrologer, mathematician, cosmologist, Kabbalist, and Rosicrucian. Piaget's, I don't know if his name or her name was Piaget, but Jean Piaget was a Swiss psychologist known for his work on child development. Piaget's theory of cognitive development and epistemological view are together called genetic epistemology. So he was one of the most important and influential people in the field of developmental psychology because he believed that humans are unique in comparison to animals because we have the capacity to do abstract symbolic reasoning. His work can be compared to Lev Vygotsky, Sigmund Freud, and Erik Erikson, who were also great contributors in the field of development psychology. This dude is amazing, Erik Erikson. His story is very, very interesting. Yeah, and I think he was one of the founder of the psychology as we know it, or he was definitely founder of like few core thing like hypnotism. I won't say he was a founder, but you know, like some of his theories were based on led to that, or he used to use like hypnosis and other NLP, neuro linguistic programming techniques to help his patients. Seems like Russian. Yeah. So let's see, what does these scientists think? So the first stage, which is infancy from 0 to 2 years old, is sensory motor stage, in which intelligence is present, motor activity but no symbols. Knowledge is developing yet limited. Knowledge is based on experiences and interactions. Mobility allows the child to learn new things. Some language skills are developed at the end of this stage. The goal is to develop object permanence, achieving a basic understanding of causality, time, and space. All right. Object permanence is the understanding that objects continue to exist even when they cannot be sensed. This is a fundamental concept studied in the field of development psychology, a subfield of psychology that addresses the development of young children. Causality is influence by which one event, process, state, or object contributes to the production of another event, process, state, or object where the cause is particularly responsible for the effect, and the effect is partially dependent on the cause. All right, and between the age 2 to 7, it's called pre-operational stage, and that means that symbols or language skills are present, memory and imagination are developed, non-reversible and non-logical thinking. shows intuitive problem solving, begins to perceive relationships, grasps the concept of conservation of numbers, predominantly egocentric thinking. Toddler, egocentric. Egocentrism is the inability to differentiate between self and other. More specifically, it is the inability to accurately assume or understand any perspective other than one's own. Egocentrism is found across the lifespan in infancy, early childhood, adolescence, and adulthood. And between the age of 7 to 12 years, which is elementary and early adolescence, the stage is concrete operational stage, where a logical and systematic form of intelligence, manipulation of symbols related to concrete objects, thinking is now characterized by reversibility and the ability to take the role of another, grasps concepts of the conservation of mass, length, weight, and volume, predominantly operational thinking, non-reversible and egocentric thinking. What is concrete object? And in common usage and classical mechanics, a physical object or physical body is a collection of matter within a defined. Okay, so just an object. All right, so from 12 years and on, which is adolescence and adulthood, the stage is formal operational stage. Okay. Here, the logical use of symbols related to abstract concepts acquires flexibility in thinking as well as the capacities for abstract thinking and mental hypothesis testing, can consider possible alternatives in complex reasoning and problem solving. Common types of tests on human cognition: serial position, word superiority, Brown-Peterson, memory span, virtual search, knowledge representation. Metacognition is an awareness of one's own thought processes and an understanding of the patterns behind them. The term comes from the root word meta, meaning beyond or on top of. Metacognition can take many forms, such as reflection on one's own ways of thinking and knowing when and how to use particular strategies for problem solving. There are generally two components of metacognition: knowledge about cognition and regulation of cognition. Meta-memory, defined as knowing about memory and mnemonic strategies, is an especially important form of metacognition. Academic research on metacognitive processing across cultures is in the early stages, but there are indications that further work may provide better outcomes in cross-cultural learning between teachers and students. Writings on metacognition date back at least as far as two works by the Greek philosopher Aristotle, and his books were On the Soul and the Parva Naturalia. The Parva Naturalia are the collection of 7 works of Aristotle which discuss natural phenomena involving the body and the soul. They form parts of Aristotle's biology. Whereas On the Soul is a major treatise written by Aristotle, his discussion centers on the kinds of souls possessed by different kinds of living things, distinguished by their different operations. Thus, plants have the capacity for nourishment and reproduction, the minimum that must be possessed. Now, this is important. So I'm gonna go through this and then we're gonna wrap this up. All right. So improving cognition. Physical exercise, such as aerobic and anaerobic exercise, have been studied concerning cognitive improvement. There appear to be short-term increase in attention span, verbal and visual memory in some studies. However, the effects are transient and diminish over time after cessation of the physical activity. Cessation. Dietary supplements. Studies evaluating phytoestrogen, blueberry supplementation, and antioxidants showed minor increases in cognition function after supplementation, but no significant effects compared to placebo. Pleasurable social stimulation. Exposing individuals with cognitive impairment, that is dementia, to daily activities designed to stimulate thinking and memory in a social setting seems to improve cognition, although study materials are small and large studies need to confirm the results. The effect of social cognitive stimulation seems to be larger than the effect of some drug treatments. Other methods. Transcranial magnetic stimulation has been shown to improve cognition in individuals without dementia 1 month after treatment session compared to before treatment. The effect was not significantly larger compared to placebo. Computerized cognitive training utilizing a computer-based training regime for different cognitive functions has been examined in a clinical setting, but no lasting effects has been shown. So, transcranial magnetic stimulation is a non-invasive form of brain stimulation in which a charging magnetic field is used to cause electric current at a specific area of the brain through electromagnetic induction. That would be interesting. I'll check it out if I can experience that. Cool. I guess we're gonna wrap up today's session. Yeah. Well, I had fun. I mean, there were quite a few interesting things to learn about. Um, the what was the first? The dead. Uh, let's recall. So the author David Langdon, right? He wrote a book. No, he reviewed a book, and that book was The Dead Kingdom. I'm actually looking at my browser. Yeah, The Dead Kingdom, and from there we jumped on to Mr. David Langford's Wikipedia page, and from there to the Cognition Wikipedia page. And if you think about it, like the novel The Dead Kingdom and Cognition were like 2 degrees separated, right? But conceptually they're like so far apart. um, but that's what I find beautiful about things like Wikipedia, because you can go into one article, and from there you can connect to any other article, and from there you can connect to any other article, and by the time you clicked on say 10 different articles, you're like completely um, uh, in a completely different place than where you started. And that uh, that, my friend, is the journey. So um, keep coming back, and I'll keep doing this, and together we're gonna explore the different together we're gonna explore the knowledge which are spread across the sea of wikis, and we're gonna hopefully use or leverage some of this information or knowledge in our day-to-day life, and that I hope that helps you to remain calm and peaceful. So until next time, peace.